artists for most of my life, for as long as I can remember. And there are always things I wanted to say to the world, or about the world. I was curious about the world. But coming from immigrant parents, you know, working class of course, but also very, very strict as a way of dealing with the unfamiliar world of a new land, they just were not, they didn't see the value of artistic expression for their daughter, and fair enough. But I think what I felt was a pain, that pain of feeling excluded from mainstream society, which is really Australian society, and also stifled creativity. And many people in outer urban projects, many of our staff members and workers, really feel deep convictions about things like access, concepts of equality, inclusion and exclusion. I want to just maybe tell you a story about the power of some of the work we do. Last year, November, a social worker called me from Hume and said, look, I've got this young boy here, and I was wondering if you could help him, maybe you could talk to him. He says he likes to rap. So I spoke to him on the phone. George is his name, and yeah, he said, look, I really like rapping, but I'm incredibly shy. And he said, I'm incredibly shy many, many times with a great deal of confidence for a shy person. And, but I said, look, that's okay, you know, you, trust me, you can be shy and you can still be a great rapper. Really? Absolutely. When can I come? I said, look, we're not starting our program for another 5 months, but in April, we're ready to go. We'll call you. Of course, 5 months passed, he called me right on the dot, said, can I come now? So he's on board. And he's part of one of our ensembles, the text and writing ensemble. And after our first session, I drove him to the train station, and on the way in the car, you know, we kind of, you know, we were singing Michael Jackson songs basically, and talking about Michael Jackson's greatness as nerds do. And but he said something that I thought was quite brave and quite vulnerable for a 15-year-old boy. He said, as he got out of the car, he said, oh, I just want to say that, you know, it's really great hanging out with people my own age who aren't scared to write about their real feelings. And, you know, I don't know where he'll end up in 2 years, but he could well be a professional rapper, a professional poet. Of course, that's happened to many of our young people. He could end up being a CEO of a literary festival. But we will be there to support him, to get him to that next phase. So we are here really to ask you to help us fund a position. And that position is a social enterprise program position. And it's about creating pathways for training, but also providing mainly paid employment for young artists. The job title is Zone 2 Events Manager Coordinator, Stroke Coordinator. So what is Zone 2? Well, there's Zone 1 and there's Zone 2. And Zone 2 is really struggle town. And it's basically, we service the outer northern suburbs of Melbourne. So there's many suburbs in the outer north. One of them is a place called Crazyburn, otherwise known as Crazyburn. And it actually was a site of a major race riot in 2010. But it's symbolic of the outer north. There are a few facilities there. There's a pizza parlour, there's a shopping plaza, there's a TAB, there's a leisure centre, and there's a golf course. It may be a place some people would consider retiring to, but it really is not much there to entertain a suburb that is really, it's sparsely populated by young people, by youth. The outer north, high proportion of public housing, ever-expanding belt of housing, new housing estates further and further from public transport, teenage pregnancies, high unemployment rate. In a couple of years, the youth unemployment rate was as high as 50%. There's a lot of frustration and apathy. And these are our people. And they're struggling to connect. They're struggling to be heard. They've got things they want to say to the world about the world, but they don't know what to do with their uniqueness and with their talent. There's some phenomenal talent in the outer north. It's an area that is truly rich with art, cultural expression. Amazing dancers, rappers, poets, writers, singers. And on the subject of singing, there's a girl called Brian Caterina who, you know, walked into our singing workshop 2 weeks ago and was a girl crying. And she was crying because she was worried about going home to an angry mother because her sister had prematurely called mum to say she wasn't at the school day after school. I took her outside and you know, tried to reassure her, you don't know my mum, she's so strict. I said, it's okay, we'll go home and talk to your mother. You don't understand. I will never be able to come to singing lessons again. I want to sing, and sobbing like you wouldn't believe. It was the prospect of not coming to the singing lessons that actually frightened me more than going home to her angry mother. So we all want to make a difference. I felt that at that moment I was making a difference, that our organisation was. That's what life's about. We're all here to make a difference. We've had lots of success stories. You'll hear them a bit later on, but I want to get to you know, the pitch part of it, because there's so much I want to say, but I can't. I've got to get to this. So we're basically asking you to fund this position, which is our social enterprise. It provides paid employment for young people, but it also provides performers for social functions, for things like the Melbourne Festival, corporate events, etc., etc. Please help us out.